girl.
Ah.
Here we go.
Yeah, we straight chillin', serial killing, pre-cold villains on the mic, got you reeling. 5-star rated from the floor to the ceiling. If you catch a 1-star, no time for feelings. Got a team and DJ on the ones and twos. By the name Beelzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast a marlow or two, and prepare to hear the legend of the straight chillin' crew.
What up, nerds? And welcome to another diamond-studded episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name is Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode 515, recorded on Tuesday, February 11th, 2025. Tonight, we are talking about the only movie anybody should be watching on Valentine's Day, which is, of course, Twilight from 2008. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show tonight. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., his skin certainly sparkles like diamonds. Everybody welcome Randy Gandy G. Landy to the show.
And with me in the studio is the Dark Lord Blood.
How's it going, buddy? You ready to get glittery with me? Let's get glittered.
You know I am ready. I'm always ready. And then we're going to eat some fine Italiano food together. Is that cool?
Yeah. I'm going to eat a nice salad filled with shards of glass, I think.
Fantastic. Next up, calling in from Seoul, South Korea. He certainly smells like my personal brand of heroin. Everybody welcome Soju.
Oh, what up? It's your boy Spider Monkey Stains.
Is that a bird noise?
That's a monkey.
Spider, monkey. Neither of those things. It sounds like neither a spider nor a monkey, so I'm not sure what's going on.
What does a spider sound like?
That sounds like a lillard, actually.
We just reviewed The Wolfman. We know what spiders sound like. They're loud as fuck.
They're very loud.
Yeah.
Loud steppers.
They sound like a timpani drum. Last but not least, making her triumphant return to the Straight Chilling podcast. Everybody welcome back the best spider monkey on the show, Caitlin. What's up, Caitlin?
I'm so excited to be here. I almost led with "It's your girl, Spider Monkey Stains," but then I was like, "Soju's gonna take it." I was like, "I know he's gonna do it." So I was like, "Okay, I can do the Stains." So
Oh, okay.
We are of one mind.
I can read yours like
God.
Edwards, babe.
Whoa, not mine. Everyone but mine. That's what makes
It says
Everyone,
money,
sorry, everyone
sex,
but yours.
so
Yeah.
money,
tantalizing,
sex,
you know.
cats, money. Those are the only thoughts people have. Money, sex, cats. Period.
In that order.
Absolutely. Caitlin, thanks so much for sitting in with
I don't want
us
to parse that.
on this this very special occasion. We've had you on the show several times before. Longtime listeners know who you are and about your show. But remind them if they have forgotten and introduce the new listeners. You have actually not one but two podcasts. Let everybody know. What's up?
I do. I have Plug It Up, which is a horror movie podcast that I do solo. I have guests on every week, and I cover movies about the monstrous feminine. I'm sort of gearing back up, and I'm going to be recording on Species this week. So by the time this comes out, it'll be the next in line. And then I also have a Twilight podcast called Skin of a Killer, which we refer to as Soak, which will be layers of funny when
That's
we
a
talk about the
little Mormon.
Mormonism. About the Mormonism
Mormon.
inherent in Twilight. But yes, this is the Skin of a Killer tit soak, but we didn't want to go with tit soak. So Skin of a Killer is our Twilight podcast. It's me, Mary, and Charlie. They're both regulars on Plug It Up. And we read the books, we watched the movies, and we're getting ready to start back up with Midnight Sun, which is Twilight told from Edward's perspective, which is about 600 pages.
Oh my God.
He's a chatty
You're so
boy.
strong.
I know,
You're so
I know.
Dark
Oh
and
man.
mysterious. No more.
Stephanie Meyer said, I have one idea, and I'm going to redo it.
Just gonna
Run it
milk
back.
it.
That one
Run it
idea is netting quite a profit. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's doing
to
great.
her.
It's working out. Awesome. Yeah, check out Caitlin's podcast everywhere you get your podcasts. Before we get into the main event, let's tackle a little bit of housekeeping on our end real quick. We do have our March poll currently posted over on our Patreon website. If you guys support us at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're talking about this March. Juice, March is your takeover month. Tell us all about the poll and the options.
Yes, sir. We're taking over. We're going dark Disney. So some of those darker Disney films that yeah, Disney doesn't really make too much anymore, but they are Something Wicked This Way Comes, The Big Black Hole of Time, and Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. Bob, how are those
Nailed
numbers
it.
looking?
You got them all. There's been some changes since last week. So we got a dead
Oh
tie for
my
first
God.
place.
Okay.
Ooh.
Black Hole, 24% of the vote. Last place. Tied
Not
for
too
first
far,
with 38% of the vote apiece. We got Pirates of the Caribbean and Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Yeah, but Big Black Hole
Yeah.
of Time isn't too. I mean, 24,
Yeah.
38. That's pretty close.
That's like 12 points off, something like that.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah, and we still got half a month to go.
Very competitive.
Hot race.
Yeah. Get your
Wow.
votes in before the end of the month. And we'll see what we're talking about this March.
Mm-hmm.
We're also dropping mini casts every other Friday. We just dropped a mini cast last Friday on Strange Darling, coming out this Friday on Valentine's Day, actually. Your boy Soju is coming at you with yet another mini cast talking about Squid Games Season 2.
The romantic Squid Games, perfect for Valentine's
Get you in the
Day.
mood.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Then like
There's a lot
fighting
of
for your
fatalist
life,
relationships right
Yeah.
now. I think you're going to be fine.
Squids make me horny.
It's called
games
titillation,
make me
Andy.
horny.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely called tit.
Titillation. Yeah, check out Justin's minicast on our Patreon this Friday. That's really all we got going over at Patreon. You guys have anything else you need to plug?
Not a damn thing.
Actually, I think this week I'm good.
Wow.
Clean.
I'll plug our friends at A Cut Above. I sat in with them last night, and they're good friends of the show. So
They didn't pay for that, Caitlin.
What did
they didn't pay
what,
you for it; they paid me for it.
what
God
did you
damn it.
What did you talk about?
We talked about Invisible Man from 2020.
Ooh, all
That's a
right.
good one.
Not a bad one. The good Watiti.
That's not a Watiti.
No, not at
Wait, Who am I
all.
thinking of?
Good one, L.
What's
Winnell.
Winnell. Those fucking names, for some reason, like there's random names that just swap in my brain. It sucks.
You're a wrong
Hey.
Watiti, Randy.
That's correct.
A naughty
Hey.
TT.
Whoa.
I think our house.
Dirty bird.
I think our house is clean.
His house is clean.
All right, let's get into the main event. We are talking about Twilight, and we're kicking it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
Bob, I saw you had this box. Did you get the whole box set? You got the whole collection? I hope so.
Yeah, it's the 5-movie collection. This is Alice's, to be fair. I did not buy this,
Oh,
but we
okay.
had it. We had it readily available. And yeah, I think you can buy this.
Wow.
Was
No
it on
homo
Alice's
much,
one
or-
shelf, one reasonable shelf that she has tucked away in the corner of the blue room?
I allow her own small corner for her things,
Mhm.
in her
Right
whole
next to-
house. She's allowed
Right
to
next
have
to
a
her copy of Big Fat Cox 9.
God damn, the box set 1 through 9. Got them all the cocks.
1 through 9.
Got them all.
Bob, I
Uh,
have the original DVD of this that came with a little
Hell
film
yeah.
cell. And-
Damn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like it was shot on digital, so it's like but
Oh,
they
yeah.
came with
They
these
made
little
a
like
print.
promotional, yeah.
Love it. Love to see it. This is easy to buy. This is easy to stream. This is easy to rent. It's everywhere. Check out Twilight. By the way, this is from 2008, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours and 2 minutes. This was directed by Catherine Hardwicke, written by Stephanie Meyer. The book was written by Stephanie Meyer. The screenplay was tackled by her as well as Melissa Rosenberg. This stars Kristen Stewart, your boy Bobby Battinson, Billy Burke, all the alliterations. Sarah Clark, Matthew Bushel, some other lovely folks are in this. Plot synopsis brought to you by IMDb is as follows. When Bella Swan moves to a small town in the Pacific Northwest, she falls in love with Edward Cullen, a mysterious classmate who reveals himself to be a 108-year-old vampire. Folks, have we seen this movie before, and would you recommend people check it out? Caitlin, why don't you kick us off?
Oh yeah, was at the premiere. Went to the book premieres, went to the movie premieres. I definitely would recommend this movie. Twilight, I'll be the first to admit, is extremely problematic and very stupid, but it's a lot of fun. And I think that there's a lot of charm to this first one, especially if you want to experience like the blue filter of it all, the 2008 clothes and dialogue of it all, the lip biting of it all. I think it's a good time.
Dude, he's giving Margaret Qualley a run for her money in this fucking movie.
Damn. All right, Randy, what about you?
I have seen this film one other time, and it was at the straight chilling serial killer Drew's home, and we watched it with a Riff Tracks voiceover on it, and we had a good laugh. And that is the extent of my Twilight career until this review. Would I recommend? Nah. Not really, no. It's unless you are of a particular demographic to which I do not belong, I don't think you're gonna get much out of that.
All right. Juice, what about you?
I had never seen this before, not once. Never seen it. I watched it on the plane on the ride back to Korea, and I'm not gonna lie, I felt quite embarrassed.
Very brave, very brave.
There was
You know what?
a pretty
I bet
attractive woman
someone-
sitting next to me, and I actually had one of those seats where it's like there wasn't a seat in front of me, so like the TV kind of came out in like the lap kind of space or whatever, and so it was quite easy to see what I was watching, and I was pretty embarrassed.
This guy's such a loser.
Like if I saw you on the plane and I was like, taste. That man has taste.
Maybe she thought that, probably
This
not,
gentleman-
but
Maybe she likes a soft boy. You don't know.
Is she a vampire bitch?
Maybe.
Because if she's like me, she'd be game.
There she is.
Well, I would say that I would not recommend, because I think even the people who might have some interest in this are from 2008. So, I mean, I don't know if you haven't seen it at this point, I think you've kind of missed the train there. So no,
What's
not
the one holdout on this movie?
Yeah.
Big fan of the books, never touched the movies.
Yeah, so I don't know about that. Bob, how about you? Had you ever seen this before? You watched it every weekend with Alice, every Valentine's Day?
Every week.
Yeah, because Bob fucks.
Yeah. Yeah, Juice, I fuck. I'd seen this
believe
once
you.
before. I've seen this once before back in 2008 when it first came out, and I was like, I watched it like with the understanding of like this is a good vampire movie, and like I didn't get that. I thought it was terrible.
Who
so-
gave you that impression? I must know.
What? Yeah,
You were
what?
like,
I
How
just
did you-
I just didn't know enough about it. I went in too
That's
blind,
fair.
I think. I set myself up for failure.
Okay.
And so watching it this time was much more enjoyable. I watched it with my wife, and I knew the tone of the movie. She enjoys it, and I was able to enjoy like the heavy cheesiness factor of it. And it is extraordinarily of its time. It's the opposite of a timeless film, and I enjoyed that for better and for worse. I laughed so much. So yeah, if you're into a super cheesy, goofy, melodramatic, over-the-top kind of movie that is extremely dated, then yeah, check it out. I think you could have a
That
worse
sounds to me like if you want to get laid by your wife, watch this.
I think
You know what?
I think I would love to watch this movie though with all of you together. I think
It's
that would be a
so
lot
fun.
of
I mean, yeah,
fun.
this-
I think
it
that
could
would be
work, yeah.
hilarious.
The
Yeah.
inception
I had
of
fun.
my Twilight podcast was we got baked and I made everyone watch the baseball scene and we had just like the best time. And that was enough to inspire.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you. Yeah, get yourself in the right headspace, and I think you can have a good time with it.
Yeah.
Overall, that sounds like maybe a very loose recommend.
The
Mm.
loosest.
Very,
We-
very, very loose recommend.
Bob, you're never quite definitive with this. I don't think that was
Bob has a hard time, yeah, with the recommend.
Well, we
I'd
got
say
like
it was 50-50. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, about
Yeah.
50-50.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I was
doing
given
what
like
I can.
125%, so it evens
Whoa.
out.
That balances your
Wow.
negative boner
Hank Hill would
out,
be
Randy.
proud.
So we're gonna be spoiling the shit out of Twilight, and here comes your warning.
Spoiler warning.
Oh, Bob, please regale us with your plot synopsis.
I got it. 2 hours and 2 minutes. It's gonna take me at least that long to read the plot synopsis. So strap in, all right? It's gonna be a long trip.
Strapped in.
Say it out loud, the plot synopsis.
Say it. All right, here we go. Zah! Bella Swan is a 17-year-old who relocates to a small town in Washington state to live with her father, Charlie, who is the police chief. Her mother has remarried a minor league baseball player named Phil, and they are moving from Phoenix to Jacksonville so he can play.
Fucking Jacksonville.
I thought I was going to get a Jacksonville Suns bump, but that also worked. Play
They're
for the
the
Suns.
shrimp now, Bob. Okay.
That's not a
They're
deep
the
enough
jumbo
cut.
shrimp now.
They're the
If we're gonna
shrimp.
get, if we're gonna
They
get
were
it
too
right.
too big for their shells, they say.
Baseball has never been hotter than the Jacksonville Suns.
Shrimp.
Although actually there is the Suns in Phoenix as well, so
That's wild.
one Suns to the next.
Your girl Bella becomes reacquainted with Jacob Black, a Native American teen living on a reservation near the town. At school, she finds the mysterious Cullen siblings to be particularly interesting, specifically Edward, who seems repulsed by her when she sits next to him in biology. He even tries to drop the class. The nerve of this man. I can't believe it. Bella is nearly struck by a van in the school parking lot, but Edward inexplicably travels 30 feet or more in an instant and stops the van with just his hand. He refuses to explain how he's done this, but says they cannot be friends. Jacob tells Bella there's a long-standing feud between the Cullens and the Quiettes. The Cullens are not allowed to set foot on the reservation. Bella is eventually forced to draw the only logical conclusion, which is that Edward is a vampire. He confirms, but says the Cullens only drink animal blood, so it's all really chill. They're like, vegetarians or whatever. He also says he finds her scent irresistible. It's his own personal brand of heroin. They fall in love, and Bella is introduced to the Cullen family, where she's met with mixed results. Some of the family worry she will expose their secrets. Bella's life soon becomes in jeopardy when 3 nomadic vampires come to town, and one of them becomes obsessed with her scent and hunts her for sport.
Talk to me, baby.
The Cullens protect her, and she hides out back in Phoenix with Jasper and Alice Cullen. James, the vampire hunting her, tracks her to Phoenix and lures her into a trap at her old ballet studio. James attacks her and infects her with vampire venom. The Cullens arrive and murder the fuck out of James. Edward removes the venom from Bella, keeping her from becoming a vampire. Edward then accompanies Bella to prom, where he refuses to her request to turn her into a vampire. Little do they know James's mate Victoria is watching them and plotting her revenge. Roll them credits.
My God.
That was so good. That was so good.
Thank you. That's a high compliment coming from you.
You nailed it. And man, Stephanie Meyer treats Native American lore just about as well as the movie does. So,
Oh, good.
Yeah. They are
I was
wolves,
hoping it
right?
would be
Like,
that inept.
That's fact.
oh, Stephanie Meyer. She's got so many issues, but God bless Jacob Black. God bless Taylor Lautner.
I've heard I know that yes, there's some problems and stuff. I've listened to people talk about, I've listened to critics or whatever talk about these movies and the problematic stuff and the not so and the push and the pull and all that stuff. And ultimately, I just kind of feel like people are a little hard on this movie just because it's a girls' movie. Like I think there's a lot, it is a movie for girls, therefore it's there to be hated. I think there's a little bit of that goes on. But yeah, there's some weird shit happening with Native Americans. There's some weird shit happening
Abstinence.
with the Mormon adjacency,
Yeah.
like you said.
Oh,
I don't know.
not hidden. It's very much Mormon propaganda. Oh, Steph
Awesome.
Meyer.
Awesome.
Can't
We
wait to
love
You
get
it.
into
can
it.
live forever and sparkle if you're a Mormon.
that's
Wow,
true.
but this is booby, sis.
They
Yeah.
said that in The Heretic, actually, if you recall. That is, they mentioned
Truly.
Twilight in Heretic.
So, yeah, my thing with this movie is I was going in, I knew its reputation, and the only person really close to me who loved Twilight was my cousin. She's significantly younger than I am by 10 years.
That is the
So
correct demographic. I am too old to be as obsessed with Twilight as I am.
well, just like I mean, like, and we're like pretty close, but I remember she had like a cutout of Edward like in her room and stuff at the time of this, and so that was my only like real exposure to it. But like, I mean, I'm kind of 50-50 too, where like there are some properties who like they come from books that I really enjoy and some I really don't, especially in the terms of like things blowing up and being like big cultural, phenomena and stuff like I really love Harry Potter, even though a lot of the Harry Potter movies are not that good. But at the same time, I really don't like the Lord of the Rings movies. They just don't vibe with me. But like I like Hunger Game movies and the books. And so it kind of like goes back and forth. And sometimes they're really silly and sometimes like I still enjoy them or whatever. So I was going into this movie thinking like, okay, I know I've never read the books, but this could go either way. I could, I'm open and I feel like I'm not really sure where I'm gonna land on this. And to be completely honest, this was much worse than I could ever have anticipated. I was kind of blown away at how bad it was. Like from a craft standpoint, I was because I mean, even now, I know it was the popular thing to do, and I'm glad that his career has survived. But like Robert Pattinson, like's a good actor, he's good. And I mean, and a lot of people in this film are good.
Ashley Greene from
Dude, I
Jacksonville.
was saying I had chemistry with her. I was like, I completely, completely forgot about her. But yeah, I went to high school with her. But
You had chemistry
I
I know I
together, you
really did
say?
have chemistry with her.
I'm
But
sure.
I I thought I was blown away. How bad this was. It's really bad. It's
When they
really
run at like Mach
bad.
Oh,
speeds, it
Dude.
is
Yeah.
so
it's so
fucking
bad.
funny.
When he
It's
I
so
looks
love
like
it.
funny.
he's coming in his shorts like
Yeah,
constantly, like
It's
when
that's
already
that's important.
it's
Yeah.
like I was
That's
like
very
That's the only
intentional.
not
release he gets.
I was not prepared for the interactions and the like long focuses and the faces. It was just I was so
Clear
embarrassed.
pans.
I was
Yeah,
Well, you
so
it's
I was
know,
very
quite
bad.
when you
embarrassed.
compare it to some of those other franchises like Hunger Games and Harry Potter, those movies, well, those books, first of all, are told from, well, the Hunger Games is from first person perspective from Katniss.
It is,
But
yeah.
Harry Potter is third person omniscient. And those are really big, like universal sort of world building in terms of like, these are universal values that we're trying to uphold. There's a revolution happening in Hunger Games. Twilight is very much like told in the first person. It's told through Bella's perspective, and she is supposed to be your proxy as a reader. And it is supposed to
Yeah.
be like you are supposed to be like, I'm the clumsy, just like I'm just a girl. And you're supposed to feel all those things. So I think translating it to the screen is a little bit challenging, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, it is very stupid, but it's easy to make fun of things that are aimed towards teenage girls because that's what our culture like
Mhm.
easily aims at. But I'm kind of two minds of it too. But I think it's hard to compare it to those other franchises because you're supposed to be Bella as a reader. So it's
Yeah,
truly not for you,
Yeah.
it's yeah, exactly. Like there's a very specific type of person that is in mind for this movie as an insert character. That's totally true. And I don't know, like it's such an easy target that it kind of feels lame to blast Twilight to me. Like I feel like it's but Justin's correct. Like this is a very fucking silly movie that is very hard to defend on its own merit. I think. I went in there like really trying to be like, okay, I'm not going to let that sort of thing influence me. I'm going to try and take this for what it is. I'm going to try and approach it like completely bias free as much as humanly possible. And buddy, when he starts running around with Bella on his back, looking like fucking like it looked like the live action Dragon Ball Z movie or some shit. It's
Yeah.
some nonsense.
I
It
loved it.
looks terrible.
I loved it.
And
I
it's
think
such a
there
delight
Climbs
to
that
read.
tree, like oh my god, dude.
I think there are some technical aspects that are done poorly, and a lot of the stylings of the day just don't age particularly well. But I think the tone is extremely intentional And like if you watch that as a teenager, specifically a teenage girl, I think that's going to resonate with you. It's hella cheesy for an adult to watch, but I found it to be charming in a way. Like not necessarily bad, but I do think there's a lot of technical stuff that is just poor choices and done badly. Like you said, like Robert Pattinson is like he's gone on to be in other things and proven that he is a fine actor. But like when he stops that van from crushing Bella, the face that he makes, he looks kind of like a dead fish or something. And I thought it was so funny when they zoom in on his whatever he's doing. I
He
just
goes slackjaw quite a few times when he's like overwhelmed by Bella. Either
Yeah.
that or he has the like about to come in his
Overwhelmed.
pants face.
maybe that's heroin face when you just slack jawed. Like I don't know, man. I just thought it was hilarious. Things like that,
Well,
choices like that.
exactly. Yeah, that's the face. That's the this is the skin of a killer, Bella. I so part of it is so this didn't have a small budget, but it didn't have as big a budget. Like the last Twilight movie that came out, the fifth one, had $100 million more to work with than the
Damn.
first one did. So,
And it
and
had that
there,
robot baby in it, didn't it?
it sure did.
No, I
You
don't know
bet.
about that.
I gotta see
Where'd
that.
that money go?
Robo baby.
Fucking the
But-
producers in real life.
Dude, that face, I can't deal with it.
It's definitely Jizz in My Pants era, Lonely Island. Like,
It looks like that.
This is behind the
But-
scenes. Randy's
Yeah,
background. is
Randy
Edward
changed his
Cullen making
background.
a-
It's also
Jizz in My
the
Pants
social
face.
media post on this episode on our
Yeah.
straight chilling.
Oh my
It's pretty good.
God.
well,
That's good.
but besides the budget stuff, which like, the CGI is bad, all of the choices they made in terms of having them run and the way that they move and the way that they play baseball, all of that shit is very silly. But there is a cut of this that Catherine Hardwicke pushed for that was a little bit more adult, like a little spicier, we can say. Because this is like eroticism for young women.
Yeah.
It's specifically aimed at that. Stephanie Meyer's messaging is such that like, if you're abstinent and this like titillation, you can withstand it. It's going to be so much better when it finally happens. Like her abstinence messaging is pretty clear. But Catherine
Yeah, it's very
Hardwicke,
Anne Veal.
it is. Catherine Hardwicke had this cut that she wanted, but they actually gave Stephanie Meyer, instead of Catherine Hardwicke and the other screenwriter, they gave Stephanie Meyer final say of what was going to be the final cut of this movie. So a lot of those decisions were made by the author, and they weren't great ones, but that is sort of how we got to where we got to.
That's an
That
interesting
makes a lot of
choice.
sense.
You
Yeah,
don't
Netflix
ever
in the
hear
kitchen.
about that, really.
It's
Even with
really
like Stephen
rare.
King. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really rare. But she has a cameo in this. Stephanie Meyer is
Oh,
at
really?
the diner bar. They go, Stephanie, here's your veggie plate. And she's like typing on a laptop. It's so fucking stupid.
No.
But,
I'm writing what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of like conflicted about that too because I really tried to give this movie like as fair shake as possible. And watching on a plane where I didn't even feel necessarily comfortable about like busting a gut, about watching this movie,
Yeah.
but
Not your gut. I
No.
was gonna say. I can't jerk it here. I can't pump my
Either
hog
way,
in
I
front of all
guess.
these
So
people.
funny.
I don't know. It is Twilight, get me riled up. I
You walk to the
wish.
bathroom with a blanket tied around you. Oh,
It's
God.
Twilight. You literally are not.
I gotta
allowed
get my
to pump
bag
your
down.
hog to it. It's sinful.
Don't look at me.
Luckily, I brought a messenger bag as carry-on.
So I tried to separate this into like as I was watching it, I was like, okay, I don't feel like I'm gonna. Once you get to a certain point, I was like, okay, I don't feel like I'm really gonna enjoy this. I tried to separate it out into kind of two parts in my mind, and one was how is this movie kind of crafted? What's going on here? What are choices made from making a film standpoint? But then also too, it's kind of that weird space where you're living in of it's a movie based on a book, so. Some of like the messaging or like the narrative that's told or how it's told is already like predetermined and you're just trying to like kind of bring that to life. So like try not to harp on that too much. But I mean, and even giving this movie a fair shake, the messaging is quite problematic and I feel bad because it's not when we talk about things like it's easy to dunk on things that are made for younger girls, like specifically like 12, 13-year-old girls. We've talked about this a lot, like in K-pop and stuff like this, and blue True Blue, or what was that, Perfect Blue.
Perfect Blue.
It's yeah, stuff like that is, to me, like, it feels predatory in some ways. Now, this was written by a woman, but I mean, we, even the ideas of, like, we talked about with Buffy and stuff like that, like this, when you like really break it down at its core, it's like this 16, 17-year-old woman, having this romance with a 100-year-old man is weird. It's strange. And like, I'm all for, young people exploring their sexuality and stuff like that, but some of these things just, like, they don't seem like, there's a fine line between, I think, saying like, don't dunk on things that like young girls are interested in and let them have their way of like exploring and stuff like that, but there are like problematic things going on here, I think.
I
I'm
think, funnily
fascinated.
enough,
Oh, sorry.
I'm more sort of I I'm put off more by Edward's controlling nature than I am by his age. There's
yeah.
like Stephanie Meyer has written a whole illustrated guide of like how the venom works and all this shit. And like he's frozen in time at 17 in terms of all of his mental capacities and all of that. He's still able to learn new things and whatnot. But
Yeah.
life experience, it's all very silly. But I have less of a problem with that than I do with the message that it's good to have a boyfriend who is super controlling of you and super worried about you all the time and super just like, I'm going to
Watching
remove
you
you from your
sleep.
dad, watching you sleep. Yeah.
For months.
So like, yeah. Which
Been
we
doing
were
this
always
for
like,
months.
Her room.
does Bella like fart
That's
in her
not
sleep?
weird.
Like what happens? Like can
He likes
That's why.
the
That's
scent
why
of
he-
his own
That
heroin.
smell.
To it,
Her
yeah.
smell.
her smell? But yeah, there are a lot of problematic aspects to Twilight, but at the same time, I am Team Edward at the end of the day. So
Well,
part of
we
the
haven't
problem.
got to the teams yet, so we gotta
Yeah.
be,
Yeah.
no spoilers.
I gotta say, I'm a little surprised, Juice, to hear you say that you've got a problem with like 100-plus-year-old immortal being getting with some young girl. I mean,
Girl on my bed. Yes.
you had no problem with old
Yes.
Sasper, did you? I don't know, man.
That's
My
true.
boy
That's fair.
Devin
That's a fair
Sawa.
critique.
But also, like, yeah, the idea, that's what bothers me. I can understand what you're saying, Caitlin, but like the thing that's just the thing that jumps out at me is like, this is a guy who is capable of learning to be a virtuosic piano player and all sorts of shit. He's doing some growing. He may not physiologically be growing, but he is capable of growth. 100 years worth of growth. And I'm sorry, if you can transfer your consciousness to a younger body, a la The Substance or something, and you're going for somebody in high school with that, fuck you.
I did
Also,
find
like,
it
if
weird
I'm
that
if I'm an
these-
immortal being, I'm not going to high school.
That's what I was
Yes!
gonna say. I
That's
find
the
not
that
biggest,
doing
yeah,
it.
that's
Not doing
yeah,
it.
that's the silliest part of it all. It's why are you matriculating in fucking high school over and
They
over again?
graduated like 100
It allows us
times
to stay
over. Like,
Yeah.
why are you
Just get a
doing
job at a gas
this?
station. I don't know. Like,
Go to different colleges. They're rich. They can go do anything they want.
anything. Travel the
anything, yeah,
world.
well, I mean, if you want to, yeah, do literally anything besides
Yeah.
go to high school.
They
where
move
you-
towns every 4 or 5 years and just they go to
I don't
another school. Like,
understand.
why on earth, as an immortal being, would you be doing that with your time and then
I
being
love-
obsessed
It's a
with these?
very stupid way to have spent your time as a vampire. For
It's
sure.
strange,
Mhm.
but they
But,
do
like-
play sick baseball, so good for them.
Yeah, vampire
they
baseball
do.
is really important to this story.
BTBB.
As is Muse.
Yes.
Yes.
That whole scene is like the goofiest music video I've ever seen in my
It's
life.
so fucking funny.
It does-
Stephanie
it-
Meyer
Sorry, go ahead.
loves Muse. Like she's talked, she's thanked them in the intros to her books. Like in the
Wow.
intro to, I don't know if it's Eclipse or Breaking Dawn, but she specifically in the like intro thanks Muse because she loves their music and writes to it. So she was fucking stoked to have Supermassive Black
Damn.
Hole be the song that got chosen for this.
That's on her booty eating playlist, Supermassive Black Hole.
Super massive big black hole of time. Yeah.
tossing that supermassive black hole all night long.
It's a
I
good
will
like I
say,
really
yeah.
like Muse, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, the soundtracks do slap. There's Paramore, there's Muse, there's Iron and Wine. There's a
Yeah.
lot of good music that's in the
There's some
Twilight
good stuff.
soundtracks.
That's
I
fair.
didn't like most of it, but I did like more of it than just Muse, which is what I remembered from watching it the first time. It's like, okay, well, at least it has a Muse song, but there's a few other songs I'm like, okay, this is not bad too. Um, so yeah, I like that. I also liked like I wasn't kidding when I said that the best part of this movie is the setting. Having like Pacific Northwest is very charming to me more than any other part of the U.S. It's just like the most beautiful part of the country to me, that I've been to anyway. And man, they really, really give you a lot of Pacific Northwest porn in this fucking movie. It looks awesome. I was very taken with that shit. So like I was right at home in the same way that like sandy desert scapes are famously not my favorite settings to be in, and it impacts my viewing slightly. This impacted my viewing slightly in the positive direction because I love it so much. I don't know. That's probably just me, but it's like just the look of all this like fucking like the mossy big ass trees, ancient look of it. I really like that.
I
It's
like the
beautiful. They really
diners a
were
lot
on
too.
La Push Beach. That's, they did real scouting on La
Yeah.
Push Beach, so on the res.
Mm-hmm.
And the
The
small town
diner's
setting
great.
is yeah, fun or like nice or whatever. Yeah, I like the setting in general too. Except the only weird thing about it to me was they say that they say the population of the town when they're coming in, it's like really small.
3,000 or
3,000 or
something.
Yeah,
something.
and I was
Yeah,
like, there's way too many kids at this high school. Where are all these kids coming from? This high school is like a normal
2,000 of those
sized.
residents are high
Yeah,
schoolers.
this is like 10% of the population right here. But yeah, because that would look like a regular normal high school, and I was like, this is way too big for small town. But I did like the just small town vibes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No,
It's
I also
hella
really. I'm
blue
sorry.
too,
It's
it's
which
so
very
like
blue.
blue.
enhances the greenery of the forest, of course.
A lot of people on Etsy sell these little like blue plastic squares that say like Twilight 2008, and it's just like you hold it up and like everything looks like Twilight.
That's pretty funny.
That's
It's
pretty great.
delightful. It is blue.
I
This
like
one's
that.
very blue. The next one, New Moon, is very like orangey. They all have like a
Oh,
certain tone to them.
I didn't know that. Okay, I thought they were all blue. I thought it was
I
underworld
did
style.
too. Yeah. A
But
blue world. Living in a blue house with a
Blue
blue
little window.
window.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe because it's based on a book, but I found the editing to be bothersome too. Things just happen at such a rapid pace that I was like, how much time has passed? Like when he said, I've been doing this for months, I was like, months? How long are we talking here? How long has this been happening? And like the whole shift to all of a sudden the danger, like when this new vampire shows up, it just felt so rapid fire that I was like, wait, what the fuck is
they
happening
didn't build
right
to that
now?
shit.
Yeah, and then there's like, oh, there's another Victoria out there, and I was like, why? Who? Why? Like,
It's
I couldn't keep pace with the like, and I was like, I know this is a book, and I know there's like so many things that because even still to this day, my dad has watched like the Harry Potter movies like hundreds of times. Like he watched them all the times, and he'll still be like, in the books, do they talk about how they, I know that there's gaps and things when you're going from books
mhm.
to movies and logic, but I was just like, man, I feel like there is like so much information that I'm missing in this film.
Well, and
I
it's
feel
hard
like
because
that.
so much of
Sorry.
the book is Bella like introspection, and it's a lot of like pining, and it's hard to communicate that sort of ennui onto screen. So like so much of the book is that
God damn, I don't know what that bump
so
is.
much of it is
Really
Bella sort of
horny.
pining and doing research, and there's so much time. Like we get that one shot of them in the meadow, but I remember reading the book and being like, that meadow scene meant so much to me, and in the movie it's just like boom. And it's, the pacing is very off, but they had to introduce this antagonist in a in a way that it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I appreciate that they tried to thread it throughout though, like with the other people getting killed, like the Wayland guy on his boat, the
Hmm.
construction worker guy, or the security guard guy, because in the book they aren't introduced until the baseball scene is not when is when those rogue nomad vampires are introduced.
That's
So
not good.
no, it's not good, you know, and they they took some liberties, but I appreciate that they at least tried to thread that in the movie.
Yeah, I
But
guess that's a valiant effort, but like ultimately, like it's like they just seem like this movie feels like the aside from like the romance part of it, which is the core part, in fairness, but everything else just seems like and then this happens, and then more
oh,
vampires, but these
dude,
ones are
in the book
bad
it's
vampires.
like we were in biology, and then the next day we were also in biology, and then we were in biology for another time. It's not good
That's
writing.
hmm.
Um, and but you know what? I will say, I was as a big fan of the books. The books came out, and then I was so excited for this movie to come out. And my mom, my aunt, my cousins, and my friends, we had all read it. My mom left this movie being like, "That was the worst thing I've ever seen." And I think a lot of Twilight fans themselves were not jazzed on the movie when it first came out either. It's become this cult classic for so many reasons, but it wasn't a particularly adored adaptation, if that makes sense.
I did
Gotcha.
not realize that. I thought it was sort of immediately accepted. That's interesting, but I guess we'll get to that with a Rotten Tomatoes segment. See,
Oh yeah,
see what folks have to say. That's interesting to know, though. They could have done like the
Yeah,
Martin Scorsese route, where you just have like Bella talking over the entire movie, explaining all of her thoughts to you. I don't know if that would have gone over very well with like a teenage audience, but that seems to be how he handles turning all of these books into very
this movie
successful movies.
this movie does not need more dialogue.
yeah.
That's a recipe for disaster.
The
So,
research montage that she does, I love that shit. Where she like
dude,
on the internet finds a book, goes to the library, buys the book, finds a word in the book, goes back to the computer, researches everything else on the computer. Fantastic. And the
I
like
love
flashbacks to her going to the library like 30 seconds ago. It's great.
that fucking like Angel Fire GeoCities website that she's on with like black background, like green text or
yeah.
whatever. But I like that the vampire categories are like Peru, Egypt, Pacific Northwest. Like it's so specific to the Pacific Northwest. It's so funny to me.
It is very
Your
dumb. Like,
hometown. Click here.
so I think it was Rob. You mentioned that you think it'd be, or like that this is like you think it's a funny movie. It was fun for you and Alice to watch. I could see this like, I think it was Justin actually that said like getting together and watching it. This could be one of those movies that's like fun
Yeah.
to get together and laugh about and not take seriously. But like during my viewing of this, I was mostly bored. It took me about 48 hours to finish this movie because I kept getting distracted by literally anything in my vision that could distract me. I was like, yes, what? Like I can't tell you how many games of Balatro came between the opening credits and the end credits of this movie. Um, so like I had a tough time with it, and when I do that, I usually end up with some notes to try and keep me focused. It didn't go so well. I only have like 12 notes here, but some of them are making me laugh at shit that is like seems so much sillier even in retrospect. Fucking Bella at one time when they're at what is Atla Push, they're talking about the Native American tribe or whatever, and uh says something like what is like somebody said something about the Cullens don't come here. I guess it was Jacob probably, and she's like, "What did he mean the Cullens don't come here?" And he goes like, "You caught that, huh?" And it's like, "Yeah, motherfucker,
It
they
was
were
in
talking to
dialogue.
each other. They were
Yeah.
talking. You were the outsider of that conversation. What the fuck are you talking about? You caught that? Oh, you listened, did you?" Shit like that. It just drives me fucking batty. I can't get my head around it. The fucking newspaper editor kid. He does this
Oh,
thing where he's like, "Hey,
oh.
Bella, it's a worm," and it's got a worm on a stick or whatever. I know he's like trying, like they're trying. Oh, he's being annoying or whatever. But it was just like, like I could see the thought process. It was like I was like fucking Neo in the Matrix. I could see the script writing in front of my eyes. It was very dumb. I don't know. I've got a few more like that. But did you guys like? Justin, I know. I guess you were too embarrassed to be bored. You wanted to get that shit done,
God, I
probably.
wish you were
Well,
taking notes on the plane.
no, so when I was going through all the films were on the plane registry thing or whatever, and
You watched them all.
I thought, okay, I'm going into this, and there's a potential that I'll watch several of them because I've got a long time, maybe not all five, but I was like, I might watch like this next one or maybe even the first three or something. And like Randy, I had to stop a couple times. I couldn't watch it all the way through. I stopped maybe two times, so I watched it in three chunks. And by the
You
time I was
edged it.
done, yeah,
You
but
edged
I did.
Twilight.
By the
No.
time I was done, I was
Mm,
like, there's no
like a good
way I
Mormon
can watch
lad.
another one of these. There's just no way. And it's like,
They do
I
get better. I mean, they don't get a lot
I
better, but
kind
they
of
get better.
wanted to like it. Like I just
The wrong
it's
setting.
too
Edging
bad.
yourself for 13 hours just
It's
In
didn't
too
work
public.
out, huh?
We
Mm.
actually refer to him as Edgeworth on our podcast. So
They
That's
just
great.
made him so
Uh,
unlikable
He
too. He
sucks.
sucks assholes.
Another one of my notes.
Not in the
Another one of my
good
notes is
way.
Edward is a pathetic, quote, nice guy, in my opinion, with lore existing as justification for why he sucks shit. That is something I wrote down.
Oh, he's so
Like,
terrible.
it's like, but he's just like he's hot and cold all the time. He's like, I don't know, I don't
well,
know,
that's
man.
what I mean by
Fucking
like that's why I have a bigger problem with Edward's behavior as a model of like perfect boyfriend than I do with his age because
Yeah.
he's
Mhm.
like we shouldn't be friends. It's dangerous for you. And it's like, what? That's not like that's or when he's driving like an asshole. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you're
yeah.
in the car with someone who's angry at you and they're driving like a fucking
Well,
maniac.
not angry, but yeah.
Well, but like that when he's mad because those guys were like gonna assault her
Yeah.
or whatever, and like those things, those are not good examples. That's not healthy relationship dynamics, especially for a young person to learn as they're reading or watching. So I have more of an issue with that than I do with some of the technical aspects. But at the same time, like I said, I am Team Edward after 4 books, 5 movies. So he
Jacob must be a
develops.
real piece of shit.
Well,
I
it's
fucking love Taylor Lautner though.
It's bad though too because like when I'm thinking about my cousin, like okay, being 12 years old, 13 years old. Yeah, I mean the representation of like somebody literally saying like I'm going to hurt you or like and being like no, no, you love me. You're not going to hurt me. That's so dangerous like to embed into the mind of young people, not just young girls, but I mean since they're the predominant, audience for it. But I mean even for a young boy that would be to think that that would be an acceptable way of like, oh, I can't control myself, and then that scene is some way like acceptable. I don't know. It's just got such terrible messaging. Like the characters themselves are so toxic that it's hard to not feel kind of bothered by a lot of like pretty much every scene that happens. Again, like I'm watching you sleep and even the whole idea it's kind of like a little ridiculous to be like, oh, we're vegetarian vampires. But I mean from like her perspective, it almost like demeans her as a kind of person with her own identity of like she obviously is a vegetarian throughout the whole thing and to be like I'm a vegetarian vampire, it's like well you're killing animals, which is the like which is
It
Right.
what
was a weird
That's
I was
so
choice.
like well
fucking
that
annoying to
doesn't
me.
fucking make any
One
sense.
of
Doesn't
the
follow.
One of the like sort of shticky parts of the book is that Charlie, her dad, can't cook, so she has to cook everything for him. So she's like cooking every meal. And it was really weird that they made her a vegetarian in the movie because in the book she's like, I'm making my dad steak, I'm making my dad
Oh.
beef lasagna. I don't know if they were trying to
Hmm.
draw a parallel between the Cullens vegetarianism in quotes and Bella being a vegetarian, but that's a weird choice that they made for the movie.
That is
Okay,
a
that
weird
is a
choice.
weird choice. Thanks for that insight. Yeah, that is a very strange choice then.
To go back though to something you said a second ago about like I tend to agree that like it's like it's kind of dangerous to send signals to a child audience that you should stick it out with your boyfriend who's like doing whatever like but two things it's being kind of a shit like that but two things one is when I watch this movie personally what I get is like fucking try hard, pretend sullen ass sad boy, just
Moody
like
Broody.
writing terrible poetry or what. Like it just
Hey
seems
now,
so
whoa,
false
whoa,
to
whoa.
me. Like I'm just a little
Let's be
personal, I
careful
guess.
here. Yeah,
Crossing
I
a
know.
line.
But like to me,
Don't
that's
come
what
at
I
me,
get out
bro.
of it.
Look, Randy, just because you didn't listen to Debussy when you were in high school doesn't mean that all of
No,
us didn't.
I
I
speak
know.
for like what I remember from like what it makes me think of is when I was like, and this is even younger, but like when I was like 5 years old, Um, I think that my dad's wallet went missing at a restaurant or whatever, and they thought maybe somebody stole it or whatever. And I kept saying like, if I catch who stole it, I'm gonna act like a lion and rip them up or something like I was a kid. Like just like play acting like a hard ass. That's what Edward Cullen seems like to me as I'm watching this. Is just like a child pretending. It's terrible. But like all that to say, like going backwards again, one more time, is that like yes, it's not good messaging for girls, but at the same time, romance isn't about messaging. Romance novels or books, I've heard this argument, and I think that there's some validity to it, where it's like, yeah, it's like this is the safe venue in which to explore your fascination with a bad boy. Like this is a literal fantasy that cannot hurt you. So it's the same reason that like to you could argue that's the same reason that we watch like horror movies, because it's like we have a fascination with the macabre, but we don't want to live through any of that shit. Like, so I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up because it's kind of an interesting
That's fair. That's
dynamic, I think.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a tough line to walk. And I as a Twilight fan and a feminist, like it's hard. It's hard to have both of those exist at the same time. It's hard to hold both of them because a lot of the messaging is problematic. And at the same time, I can let myself enjoy these books and movies with all the problematic messaging.
Hmm.
It's tough.
That's actually that's good to draw that comparison because I mean sometimes like you like what you like and you know the people who would let's say people who look down on horror or who you know stick their nose up at it, you know.
Losers.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, but they could have similar types of ideas of the violence or you know, often it's said that it's very misogynistic or, you know, women with their yabos out and attacking women and those kind of things. And yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's okay.
Well, it's like I told Bob on Slack, spider monkey me or don't waste my time. It's a joke, but at the same time, it's like, if you're not gonna love me like Edward does, get the
Do
fuck out of
it.
here.
He does, like, he is a shithead, but I guess I didn't find it like super offensive when I was watching it. One, because I couldn't stop laughing at him, but two, he like is not violent towards her. He is actually trying to protect her, but he's a shithead at the same time. So like if he was actually I don't know, like physically hurting her or I don't know, in some if it went to like another level then it would well it'd stop being funny for sure, but then I think I would have more of a problem with it
And more
than
of it
I
is
do.
about protecting her virtue than it is about protecting her, which is its own set of its own can of worms, its own set of problematic sort of sexual taboo nonsense.
Fair, yeah.
But,
I
you know,
I really want to parse, and I really also don't want to parse what the vampire venom that she gets in her neck or in her arm or whatever, getting then removed by sucking it out. Like, if this is a virtue parable, then her virtue is crushed by that first guy and then undone by sucking on it. I don't
You gotta suck the venom out,
understand.
Randy. Don't be a prude, okay?
I
This is our
mean,
Valentine's Day
I think
episode.
there's still some more venom in there. Keep
Just
going,
sucks.
you know.
ooh, I think, hold on a second. There's a little more venom in here.
Fuck, that's
you're gonna
fucked up.
learn that there's venom in all kinds of vampire bodily fluids. It's
Ooh, boy.
Whoa. No more
Oh,
venom in
Holy
there.
shit.
oh my God. Is he shooting toxic ropes?
Damn.
Jesus
God,
Christ.
God damn.
She didn't know what she was doing when she was writing. Like I feel like so much of it is like her piecing this together. But yeah, it's not a great movie, but it's so delightful to me and it's so charming. And I find like the baseball scene very fun, very silly. I love that they are all these vampires with these like incredibly heightened senses, yet they need the human to be their umpire to make some kind of call about like the, you know, minutia of if she's out or not. It's just so silly to me. It's so fun.
Well, that is one thing that is very interesting, and even in the aspect of things like, you know, K-pop and living in a culture that like props it up and seeing these like big concerts, it's like when you think back to this, it was popular for a reason, and you kind of have to like reconcile with that of like even if you think like, oh, this is not good or this is poorly written or this is whatever it is, you know, in the same way with like music or like, oh, this is silly or whatever, it resonates with a lot of people. It strikes this chord that has made it a made a stamp in culture, that I don't know, like books, movies, and like I said, my cousin had like a cutout of it. And so, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's in some ways I feel like kind of left out of like, man, I wish, like I said, I went into this movie, we cover like Queen of the Damned and I loved Underworld, and I'm able to enjoy these things while also recognizing like some of the silliness that's involved in there. And like I kind of wanted that for this too. Maybe I just feel like I'm like, damn it. I didn't.
You're about to lose your vamp card, Juice.
I know.
Oh God.
I think I was just kind of disappointed that I was gonna stumble into this new realm that I
Sexual awakening?
maybe, yeah, no.
Well, and part of that's nostalgia.
Sexual nap, probably.
Part of it's nostalgia for me. Like I did read it at a really formative age. I was like 19, 20, and like I went to the parties, the release parties, and I it was made exactly for my demographic, so it hit me at the exact right time. And I think coming into it, as a dude and as a dude in his 30s now, like it's not going to hit the
Whoa,
way it should.
mid
Whoa, excuse
20s
me,
at
20s for you,
best.
20s for you, 20s for you.
Just like a colon.
Just
Never
like,
ages.
yeah. That's true.
If anything, I'm
They
getting
stay the
younger.
same age.
Perfect colon.
Soju Cullen over here.
Jesus Christ.
Any other major things we want to touch on before we rate this?
We're already
Um,
there, huh?
I want to
Alrighty
know who your favorite Cullen is. I want to know who your favorite Cullen is for all of you.
I feel like we
Well-
didn't really get a lot of
You
interaction
don't explore them
with
a ton, but
Yeah.
I didn't get a good sense of any
Like
of
the
them.
whole
I'll
like
say-
Jasper, like there were a couple of them I was like, I kind of wish we spent a little time with them. There's that one chick who breaks the plate, and then Jasper's just kind of, he doesn't really get, and then the big
He looks like this.
dude, yeah,
Just
I
eating
just feel like they
eggs.
didn't really.
I think on
Alice is
principle
the
because
only one that kind of got some screen, other than the dad, I guess.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say is like I think just strictly on the basis of you telling me that Dr. Cullen is Mike Dexter from Can't Hardly Wait. I think he's my favorite for that. I love me some Mike Dexter.
And we do get to know them more throughout the series, so it's probably not a fair question. But when they get introduced at the cafeteria and she's like, that one's Alice. She's weird. That one's Rosalie. She's pretty. It's just so silly to me.
Also, yeah, that whole the whole like incest kind of vibe going on was weird as well. I was
They're
like,
Stephanie Meyer's-
there's some weird shit going on here.
Stephanie Meyer's brothers, one is named Jacob and one has the middle name Edward.
Don't
Damn.
care for it.
It's
not
so
one
fucking
bit.
it's so weird. There's so much lore.
Oh boy.
So much to unpack with old Steph
We're just
Meyer.
How's that
normal men.
Thanksgiving?
She's gonna
It's
send
like,
me a cease and desist. I just know it.
The fact that the whole town, or at least the school, like says like, yeah, they're brother and sister, but they're dating. It's so like, why? Just
It's
why
quite
do you
stripesy.
gotta go to high school? Why do you have to put on this facade of like we're adopted kids? Just be your own adult.
Just
I don't.
do anything.
Yeah,
Like if you
I
need
just-
a cover to be somewhere, get a menial job or like
Yeah, just
something, or just say you're wealthy.
the
Say, oh my,
worst vampires of all time go into high school. Why would and dating? This is my stepbrother, but he's my
Well,
lover.
Soju, that's what made me think of when we did
Not
Only
those
Lovers Left Alive,
Mhm.
and those are just vampires luxuriating in time and like
Yeah.
consuming art. I was like, that's how you live a vampire.
Yeah.
life.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what
makes
you do.
sense.
I'm not going to school.
You don't go to
Yeah,
Fort
At
At
least
Smith.
go to
whatever.
college. Like, if anything, go to college, not high school.
No, they drink there. That's not allowed.
Crazy. Wild.
Unbelievable. All right, let's rate this thing out of 5. Caitlin, why don't you kick us off? How do you feel about Twilight?
I obviously have a soft spot for the franchise and for this movie. I think the first movie is universally loved by Twilight fans because of what it is and what it represents, but it's also kind of recognized as like not the best one. The movies get better, the writing gets better, the budget gets bigger, the acting gets better. So I'm gonna go 3 stars just because does it earn it? No, but it means something to me. So
Does it earn it? No. I love that.
3 even. All right, Ray and Deezy, how do you feel?
Um, yeah, I not a big fan. It's not made for me. I understand that. But even taken on a craft level and all those things, it's not very good. I wanted one thing I did want to bring up that just drove me up the wall, and Beck as well. Beck watched some of this with me as well. Is fucking Bella's fucking breathy ass bullshit and micro expressions. She goes through like 12 micro expressions per second, like, and doesn't say a single word without going and then bites the lip and it's like, Jesus Christ, thank God Kristen Stewart turned out to be a better actress than this, because this is a terrible showing for her. Like, I don't know, like it's crazy how many like decent to good actors there are in this that are doing god awful work. Really, really bad stuff. So yeah, now that I got that out of my system, yeah, I just don't find this movie very fun to watch. Certainly not on my own. Like I said, it was very, very taxing for me to get through. I think that it's another one of those movies that we can stack onto the pile of might be fun to watch with buddies and drinks, but I just can't imagine myself ever wanting to watch this again. And I know that it does have some power to that, because I did watch the Riff Tracks version with buddies, with drinks years ago, but that also had comedians in the mix. So I don't know. Maybe, maybe not, but it'll at least stands. That's the only chance it's going to stand at getting more than the rating I'm going to give it now, which is going to be a 1.5.
1.5 from your boy Randeezy. Juice, how do you feel?
Not good, Bob. It's sad to say, but not good. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of things working against this film, like, the messaging, the book that I didn't, I haven't read the book. There's a lot of missing information and perspective that I'm missing. It's out of the time of, when it came out, when other things were popular and at their peak, and but at the same time too, yeah, it's strange because even this director, I guess before she made I haven't seen most of her films, but I did see Lords of Dogtown, which came out in 2005, which is a film I haven't seen in a long time, but it lives in my mind as a positive movie that I liked when I watched it at the time, which came out 3 years before this. And now I can see all these people who star in this film, and I can say like, yeah, they're better than what's going on here. So yeah, from a craft standpoint, just nobody is able to bring their A game here. It was the fast pace, the editing was confusing and not great. Oh man, I don't know. I didn't like it. The music is okay, and the setting is cool. Those are about the best positives, I guess. Everything else is kind of toxic or confusing or didn't make a lick of sense. So, yeah, I'll just echo Randy and say 1.5, because I definitely can see I would, even though I didn't enjoy watching this movie, if somebody suggested to throw it on while we are all hanging out and having drinks, I would absolutely be down. So I would rewatch this movie. So that's okay. 1.5. Bob, out of 5. Where you going with old Twilight? This doesn't have like a little subtext, does it? It's just Twilight, right?
Just Twilight.
Okay.
The OG.
OG
Um,
Twilight.
I enjoyed this more than I think 2 out of 3 of y'all, anyways. Watched it on a Friday night with Alice. We did have a couple drinks. We were laughing, carrying it on, having a good time. And I think that's the best sort of way to watch this with a group of people. The like angsty melodrama I found to be very, very funny. The painful like early 2000s vibe of this was like it doesn't age well, but again, I was able to get some chuckles out of like the fashion, like the way the camera's moving, the extreme blue color of the entire movie, the baseball scene, the swoopy hairs, like the way that she strolls into high school and like everybody has to know everything about her immediately. They're gonna do a whole thing about her in the paper, and like everybody has to talk to her. They're all up in her shit.
She's the
Just
most
like
special every girl of all time.
yeah, it's things like that are hilarious. She takes her cactus from Phoenix on the airplane with
So
her. Like
fucking funny to me, that cactus.
little choices like that throughout the course of the movie. They added up. They made me laugh quite a bit. It is like such a moment in time, such a specific like phenomenon like of the 2008, or I guess whenever the books came out, early 2000s, whatever. I can appreciate it largely for what it is. Some of the dialogue is absolutely hilarious. Um, Soundtrack has got some bangers in it. And I mean there are like some acting choices I think that are bad, or maybe the editing made them seem even worse. I don't know. There's some weird things going on from these actors that we know are talented. They're like bizarre choices. Maybe they should have done one more take, cut some stuff out. I don't know. But all that again just makes me laugh more. I did not take this movie seriously in any way, really whatsoever, and I just had a good time with it. I think it's enjoyable enough for what it is. Um, Bella never would have met Edward had it not been for the Jacksonville Suns, so I got to give it an extra half star
Dude, I
for
keep
that.
forgetting about it.
I love
That
when
was
the-
blowing my mind because one, Ashley Grant, I was like, oh shit, I forgot about that. And then they were like, gone to Jacksonville. I was like, what the fuck?
when the one high school kid asks her to the prom, she doesn't really want to go with him. She's like, "Oh, I can't go to the prom because I got to be in Jacksonville that weekend." It's like
Gotta
that's
go
the
to
default.
Jacksonville.
If you don't want to do something,
I gotta
I'm
go
just
to
gonna be in
it's
Jacksonville.
that's the 2008 version of I have to return some videotape.
So-
Yes.
Exactly. I gotta go to Jacksonville. I don't know. So yeah, I think craft wise, there's a lot of kind of not great stuff going on and some stuff that didn't age very well. Overall, I just was able to enjoy it for what it is and kind of meet it where it's at. So I'm gonna go right down the middle with a 2.5.
My man.
There you go.
Way to
That's
do
gonna
it, Bob.
put our aggregate at a 2.1 for Twilight. Let's jump over into our Rotten Tomatoes segment and see what the critics and users have to say.
All right, ladies and germs, this is the Rotten Tomatoes segment in which I'm going to have these folks guess within the best of their ability what the aggregate positive score is on RottenTomatoes.com for Twilight. And we're going to do both the critic score, which is the tomatometer, and the user score, which is the poopometer. Let's start with our esteemed guest on our critics side. So there are 223 critic reviews counted here. So out of those 223 reviews, Caitlin, what percentage would you say are positive reviews? I'm gonna assume you have a pretty solid guess.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the fans are gonna think like I do, so I think the audience score is gonna be a little higher. The critic score's got to be low. It's got to be sub 50. I'll say 45.
45. All right, we'll go to Bob now. Bob, where are you coming in on this? You think it's higher, lower?
I'll take the under with a 40 flat, please.
40 flat. Soju, round us out.
I'm gonna trust Caitlin's instincts here because I don't know. I'm not really sure what people thought of it at the time. So, but we'll sandwich Caitlin tonight. You're gonna be the meat, so I'll go 50.
Oh.
Right
Oh
down
my
the middle.
God. Oh my God. Well, one of you
Wow,
is
that's not
just
that funny.
is just 2 percentage points away from the correct answer. You guys are right in the zone here. That correct answer, 48%. Soju's gonna take it.
No, just,
Oh, nice.
By
almost a
just the
tie.
extra-
Yeah.
yeah, very close to a tie. Mm-hmm.
What'd I say?
Nicely
45?
done.
45.
You said
yeah.
45,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
That was pretty close.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
So, well
All right.
done.
Well,
And
so, yeah,
stand by
sub
for the
50.
snuck in yeet here.
No,
Oh, it's
nothing
coming.
to say here.
It's
No,
coming.
nothing to say here.
The anticipation's killing me.
I know.
He's
All
That's
trying
what
right.
to
makes it
eat.
worth it. That's what makes
Yeah,
Ah.
Edgeworth over here isn't
when
done.
when
yet.
is it gonna come?
Mm.
Edgeworth
Only when you're
stings.
married.
The skeet comes when it comes. Let's move over to the poopometer and see what the users have to say about Twilight. We're going to go in reverse order this time around. Soju, why don't you tell us? Oh, sorry. There are 250,000 plus ratings for users.
Holy shit.
You're goddamn right
250,000
they are.
plus. This was a very active time for you, Rotten Tomatoes user review section, I think.
Yeah, I don't know how many teenage girls are on Rotten Tomatoes reviewing Twilight saying, "Oh,
You were so loud, Zoom cut you out.
God,
no."
We didn't have to hear your bullshit.
You blew your Zoom
blew my
didn't pick up
load.
your load blowing. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no.
You're just so full of that vampire venom. You just
Oh,
gotta
we
let
just
him
gotta
loose.
suck it out a little more, you know? There's a little bit
Ooh.
left in there.
God damn.
Oh, it's so fucking foul.
I guess this will be higher. So, I'll just take the 69 dudes. We'll go that high.
All right, 69 dudes for the users. Rob, gonna bring us in for the middle here?
I am the meat. I'm gonna get crazy with it. And I'm gonna take The Boys Project 86.
Oh, that is crazy.
Okay. Oh, that's a crazy choice. All right, Caitlin, round us out. You know these fans better than anybody.
I think I always choose like numbers that have fives or zeros. I'll go 75%. I feel like they're like me where they're like, this movie's not great, but I'm still gonna rate it pretty high because it means something to me.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a tie this time
Oh,
around.
shit.
Somebody got right in the meat here. The two pieces of bread are
Hope
gonna
I'm
be.
right in the meat.
Well, yeah, you always are.
Always were.
This time I had that backwards. You guys are the bread this time. So you, Justin, and you, Caitlin, are the bread. This is a 72%.
Whoa!
Right down the middle.
Holy
Damn.
shit. Nice. And we
So-
almost got a tie last time, too. Cool.
Yeah,
Hell
came
yeah.
pretty close. So congratulations. I don't know if that's a yeet or a skeet or a bleat or whatever the fuck. I don't know. But
It's a spider monkey. Ha ha ha.
okay, sure. It's exactly that.
Caw, as Justin would say.
It's a one of these.
Yeah, that the mic's really picking that up.
You're scaring me. What?
Just coming
Lady,
in my
you're
shorts,
scaring
that's
us.
all, you know?
Just-
It's just biology class.
God damn.
Okay. We're going to go over to the critics' consensus and read what that has to say. Having lost much of its bite transitioning to the big screen, Twilight will please its devoted fans, but do little for the uninitiated. I think that stands to reason. Yeah,
Fair.
Yeah.
that seems pretty reasonable. All right, now we're going to read a couple of negative reviews because they are occasionally funny, and I feel like this is the kind of movie that might elicit some funny responses, and I'm going to read them blindly. Here we go. All right. The orthodox, blood-drinking vampires are about as frightening as snitty runway models, and they are only there to threaten Bella's maidenly type O, so Edward can rescue her for the 700th time. That seems
Snitty.
about right.
Twilight
Snitty
is
is
biting
an
into
interesting-
theaters.
Yeah. That was one, and let's do one more. Okay, this is the one I'm going to read. So this one reads, "You've been warned." End of statement. That is the entire. That's I don't know what somebody got warned in that particular review.
It's far too horny for viewers to see.
You're gonna be cranking your shaft right in mid theater, friends. Trust me on this one.
Damn.
I guess that eventually that did catch up with Ola Bella or whatever the fuck what's her name? The actress. I'm blanking.
Kristen Stewart,
Kristen Stewart, because there was that famous incident in
She's
that movie
cranking
last
one
year
out in the theater.
where no, somebody cranked it out to that movie that she was in with the bodybuilder.
Oh,
that
Love Lies
bodybuilder
Bleeding. There was that guy
Love
that
Lies
fell
Bleeding, you
asleep
remember
like
that?
with his hand in his
Oh,
pants.
no.
Hand in his pants and like clearly a cum rag sitting next
Yeah,
to him.
he had
and
like a
some lotion and
station
shit.
So
set
gross.
up.
Yeah, he had it set up. It's the danger of
He
those
And
reclining
passed
seats.
out?
Yeah, he was like
and passed out
yeah,
in the
someone took
reclining
pictures of
theater
him.
chair.
You're gonna
Yeah.
be tired. Oh,
Well, when you empty yourself of all the venom, you sometimes you just pass.
I gotta get the venom out.
That is wild to have clearly planned that out and then just fall
came ready.
asleep.
He's like,
That's
it's just like at
insane.
home.
That
He
is
loves a
insane.
Paul
muscle
Rubens
mommy.
went to jail.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
bullshit.
Love Lies Waiting is a hot movie.
I've heard. I have not seen.
Oh.
That's it for Rotten Tomatoes. Bob and Caitlin, I think that there might be a little trivia. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm handing the segment over to Caitlin totally, but let's go ahead and
Whoa.
jump into some trivia.
It's totally time for trivia.
I am so excited. There's so much to cover, but I've synthesized it to the most important parts. I think so. So Catherine Hardwicke is the director of the first one only. So she was not invited back for the subsequent movies.
Bummer.
So some people credit that as to why they get better over time. I think this movie is charming in its own way, but let's see. I think Bob might have picked up on this, given a little like clue. When they were eating lunch at the cafeteria, did you notice what was on the table?
I don't think so. The dude was carrying like a sack of eggs or
He is
something.
Emmett, the big one, the burly one,
Yeah,
has a
yeah.
literal sack of hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah.
I got a sack of eggs here. Those
The
are worth
vamp-
gold
vegetarian.
The
nowadays, baby.
vampires
He-
eating a sack of eggs?
Yeah, he doesn't eat them because, it's just for show, but for the
Oh.
gains, he's got
That's
a
how he's
sack
so
of fucking
strong.
eggs.
Gotcha.
That's
3 dozen
hilarious.
eggs a day.
My
That's worth about
co-host-
$500 American right now.
Yeah.
Whoa.
My co-host Charlie over at Skin of a Killer got me a little bag of eggs keychain. To celebrate
That's
that very
awesome.
moment. It's very good.
So
Man,
particular.
that is a very particular signaling you're putting out into the world.
So Stephanie Meyer is a bit of a car nut. Did you notice what kind of car Edward was driving?
I found it to be.
No.
I thought it was
Like a
like
Kia Fit
something
or some
very
shit.
plain. Yeah.
It is plain. So she gets really into the cars in the books, and it's like a whole subplot that they're really into cars as a family, the Cullens.
Scion or something, right?
His was a Volvo,
Oh,
a
okay.
shiny silver Volvo. So Volvo, that comes into play throughout the rest of the movies.
Hmm.
It looks like a
Um,
micro machine.
Let's see. The scene where they're at the baseball area, in the clearing, and the other like nomad vampires come up, and then they come up and they kind of like, look like they're about to rumble. They apparently had feline trainers come in to teach them how to look like cats. Because I guess that's the direction Catherine Hardwicke wanted them to go, but they had cat training, feline training on how to sort of pounce
Hell
in
yeah.
that scene.
They're like
The
hissing at each
specialist
other.
for that.
Yeah, how
Gotta
did you
call
get
that
job?
cat trainer to teach these people how to be cats.
I could do
Oh,
that.
also, too, why didn't they just stomp their ass right then and there? There was like 5 of them, or 6 of them, or 7. There was like the whole
They're
family.
pacifists. They're pacifists,
Oh.
especially Carlisle, the dad.
But then they were like, "We're gonna hunt them down and we're gonna burn them."
yeah, they're gonna
like
fucking
right
rip
after
him
that.
apart. Yeah,
It's like,
and
well,
Emmett's like, "Let's go."
stomp their ass right here.
Control yourself!
I want to talk a little bit about who was almost cast.
Ooh, I love a
Stephanie
number.
Meyer really wanted Henry Cavill to be
Oh.
Edward.
Ooh.
But at the time, Henry Cavill was 25 and looked older, so they had to not go for Henry Cavill,
Yeah.
which was
There's-
the right move.
Already a weird age gap situation.
already
We don't need to
weird, yeah.
compound that.
But actually, they got
Robert
down
De Niro's
to...
a great actor. Let's get him in there.
He'd be great!
I'm 17.
They got down to a final 4, and one of the final 4 was Josh Peck of Drake and Josh fame from
Oh.
which is very surprising to
That would have
me.
been a big turn for him.
It would have. It would have. The scene where Edward is sucking the venom out of Bella in the ballet studio, and the
Oh, yeah.
soundtrack is like, like really like shitty like bro music. That is Robert Pattinson singing.
Really?
So apparently, the girl who plays Rosalie, I'm blanking on her name right now, but the girl who plays Rosalie, apparently, our Pats, God bless you, but apparently he was bringing out a guitar and like doing a little strumming and singing between takes, and she was like, "You're so good," and she recorded it and sent it, and that's how it ended up in the movie.
Oh
But
no.
he has not had a
Dang it.
music career.
That
since.
is hilarious.
I didn't know
he's
he was
so
into
fucking
Pud
funny.
Rock. Damn.
Who isn't?
He almost Jeremy Rennered himself.
Oh
Oh
The
boy.
scene in the cafeteria where Edward is talking to Bella and she's like, "Why are you so mean to me?" And she drops an apple and he catches it in his hands like this, like it bounces off his foot. That is the cover of the Twilight books. That's why they
I
included
knew
it in.
that one.
He hacky
Yeah,
I
sacks it.
existed in a
he
Oh,
world with
hacky
Barnes and
sacks it.
Nobles in 2008.
Eat this
Exactly.
apple that just touched my shoe.
I
Here,
know.
eat it, bitch. So Victoria in the movie, the redhead with the curly hair, James's mate, she is replaced in the subsequent movies. Does anybody
Oh.
know which famous redheaded actress replaced her?
Amy Adams.
Redhead. Oh,
Yes.
Isla Fisher, maybe?
Also, a
Mm.
good guess is Bryce Dallas Howard.
Ah.
So she plays
okay.
Victoria after Rachel Lefebvre. So she was replaced. Jacob Black was supposed to be replaced. Taylor Lautner, who plays Jacob, they wanted someone because of Jacob's werewolf spoiler, because of Jacob's werewolf properties, he swells into this like much older looking guy in the rest of the book. So they were going to have Taylor Lautner replaced, but in 6 months he put on 25 pounds of muscle for the next
Holy
movie
shit.
to get ready
God
for.
damn, Shark Boy.
Yeah, and goddamn Shark Boy is right in order to keep that role. And God bless Taylor Lautner. He's come out as like this body positive icon because a lot of people are like, whatever happened to him? He fell off after Twilight, and he's like, hey, I was really dehydrated and starving on that set to get the vascularity and the muscle, tone. So
No.
he's come out as this really cool body positive advocate, and his wife is also named Taylor Lautner. They are the Taylors Lautner. Which
What?
is
His wife
wild.
has the same.
The world.
his wife
Name
is
is
Taylor.
fucked.
When they got married, they both took the last
Oh,
name
okay,
Lautner,
that does
so.
matter. Okay, that does make sense. I was
Oh.
like, wait a second,
Yeah.
I'm not understanding this. Okay.
K-Stew, I promise that I won't go too much longer. K-Stew is wearing a wig for this movie because it was easier to do that than to do her hair every time.
Oh.
They had to bleach the ever-loving shit out of Peter Fasinelli's hair for this, and it's the only movie that he has his real hair. The other ones, they're wearing wigs.
Oh yeah.
Flightless Bird, the Iron and Wine song at the end, comes back and is a wedding song later in the series.
Oh.
And
Spoiler.
let's see, spoiler. Do you guys know about the connection that Twilight has between 9/11 and the downfall of Ellen DeGeneres? Because we can end on that one.
Everybody knows
So
that.
sorry.
Everybody.
Six degrees of tragedy? What is this?
I went to a Twilight party once where that was like the final question for trivia. It was like explain this image, and it was dominoes falling, and they started with 9/11 and ended with the downfall of Ellen DeGeneres and had Twilight over like the top of it. But so the theory goes that the towers fell, right? 9/11, the towers fall.
Wait. Slow down. Hold on.
And Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance writes, Welcome to the Black Parade. And Stephanie Meyer, also a very big MCR fan. So she was inspired, as she was by Muse, to write to My Chemical Romance. And let's see, My Chemical Romance, Twilight. And then you guys know about 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh yeah.
I'm familiar
course.
with the ideas.
50 Shades of Grey is Twilight fanfiction. It started by E.L. James as Twilight fanfiction. They had to change the names from Edward to Christian. So that's how we get to 50 Shades. Dakota Johnson plays the main girl in 50 Shades of Grey. Dakota Johnson goes on Ellen DeGeneres' show and like calls her out for being a fake phony bitch. And that led to the downfall of Ellen DeGeneres.
I didn't know that's what did it.
Damn.
But more or less. But
Damn.
There you go.
oh, and
Bravo.
then the only other one is that did you guys ever watch the show Roswell? I think it was on like USA.
I
or
did watch
something.
Roswell, of course.
Yeah, of course. So there is a scene in Roswell which came out before the books did. So before, because the scene in the parking lot where Edward stops the van with his hand, that came out after Roswell. So apparently there's a scene exactly like that in an episode of Roswell, and she's been accused of plagiarizing that
Like the
scene.
first episode.
Yeah, it's one of the very first episodes. Yeah.
And actually the main woman in Roswell is like similar kind of look to
Yeah, she's got a Bella look to her. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
old Roswell.
That's what we got time for tonight, but there's a lot of fun behind
It's
the
kind of like a
scenes there.
family dynamic going on there too, because they're all aliens, but they
Mhm.
say they're brother and sister or whatever. Well, that's like very similar. Whoa.
Stephanie. Stephanie.
Almost
Unbelievable.
litigatable.
Whoa.
I do have a question. In the later movies, did they ever recast Anna Kendrick, or do we have to like deal with her bullshit for the rest of the movie?
I'm so glad you asked, Bob. So she is in all of the movies.
Oh.
She has minor roles in all of the movies. And you guys know that I have a long-standing beef with Anna Kendrick, and she always says, I forgot I was in the Twilight movies, which is very annoying to me because they launched her into Pitch Perfect, which launched her into her career. So you should be grateful that you were in the Twilight movies, Anna Kendrick.
Should be grateful, you little bitch.
Jessica Stanley, the worst character there is. Oh, and
Awesome.
we're gonna get into it with Cooter of the Week. I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
Anna
Thank
Kendrick.
Thank you for all the lovely trivia, Caitlin. I appreciate it. But yeah, let's talk Hooter of the Week.
Straight chillin'. Cooter of the Week.
Whoa,
Juice.
is that Robert Pattinson's band?
I wish.
What is a Cooter and why is it Anna Kendrick?
Well, Bob. Cooter's character type and a straight chillin' exclusive. Cooter has to hit 3 of these 5 points to be considered a Cooter, but we want the Cooter with the most points, of course. The 5 points of Cooterdom are going to be explained to us by Caitlin. Caitlin, I know you've been hunting Cooters for a long time now, so go ahead and give us what those 5 points of Cooterdom.
All right, let's see. We've got overall look and attire, patheticness, smug manipulation. Is that 1 or 2?
Smug arrogance is
Smug
one,
arrogance,
and then
smug arrogance,
manipulation.
manipulation, and then sexual deviance.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Nailed
who
it.
would you like to nominate as your top Cooter this week?
So I'm actually going to go rogue. I had a feeling that people might nominate James, and we can talk about him. He's the tracker there at the end who looks like a douchebag. But I'm going to nominate Mike Newton. And Mike Newton is one of Bella's colleagues, one of her friends, her peers at school. He's the one that goes, "How you liking to rain, girl?" when he puts like water on her head. But on our podcast, we call him Incel Mike because he is a total incel in the books and in the movies. And he's
All right.
super, super horny for Bella. At Midnight Sun, which is Twilight told from Edward's perspective. Again, Stephanie Meyer had one idea and she did it over and over again. You can read Mike's mind and he's like super, super horny for Bella. And I know we don't get that context in this movie, but he's super horny in a gross way. So
Is that the
sexual
one who
deviance-
wanted to ask her to the dance? Is that the guy we're talking about?
Well, so do they all wanted to ask her to the
Wow,
dance because
of
she's
course.
so
Oh.
appealing.
She's just a plain normal girl.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
she's
other
regular. She's
girls,
an
but also very
outsider. She likes to
special.
Did you get a whiff of her though? Come
It's
on.
amazing
She
to be
smells
both.
fucking great.
God damn, she smells good.
Manipulation. He's like, I don't like that Cullen guy. He looks like he wants to eat you. You know, he looks like you look like you're something to eat.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Incel Mike, gotcha.
Yeah. He's plenty
Incel.
smug. Because he goes, "How you liking to rain, Arizona?" And it's like, shut up. Also, he looks dumb. He's got like the classic 2008 spiked hair, and
Oh,
I
no.
think that hits at least enough points to get some Cooter.
Okay, Incel Mike.
All right.
Solid.
You made
I
it
don't
many
even really
cakes.
remember who that was. Yeah, that was off
I
my
actually got
radar.
a cameo of him. His real name is Mike in real life, the actor, but I got a cameo
Incel
of him.
Mike?
Incel Mike.
That's his real
is
name.
Incel Mike.
I did not tell him that we call him Incel Mike when I requested the cameo for Mary.
I'm,
But
What?
I could just see his face going fully crestfallen, just like, what?
No.
Why?
you know what though? I gave him that $45. So
Yeah.
There you
It's
go.
your dime.
Okay.
Could we potentially nominate my boy Edward?
I
Oh,
would
yeah.
say
Yeah.
so.
Let's see, hitting
I would say
Cooter
Yeah,
dumb today.
he's giving heavy Cooter to me. Like,
So manipulation,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
Smug arrogance,
check.
I think so.
Yeah.
Sexual
yeah.
deviancy, he's watching her sleep.
Yes.
He's
He's a
sucking the
sleepwalker.
venom out.
Ooh, I gotta get this.
But he's
venom out. Ooh, let me
restraining
suck
so
that out,
much in other
baby.
But he
ways.
doesn't. His dad has to warn
Well,
him
and
several
showing
times.
restraint by
His
sucking
dad,
on
oh,
you.
God.
God damn.
That's enough, Edward. You're killing her.
I was wondering why the dad didn't do it. Like, if he's the
I
one
know.
they can't control
He's the
himself.
doctor. Like,
Yeah, that
He's the
too,
doctor, exposed to blood all the time, isn't affected. Such a pacifist.
Yeah.
Eh,
I'm just too pacifistic.
because it's got to be sexual, Bob. That's why.
Gotta be
had to
all
be.
horned up.
So overall looking attire,
You don't like the peacoat?
He sparkles and makes
he
I
that.
does
think
sparkle. His
that
hair is
haircut,
kind of
Dan,
janky.
looks
I
ridiculous.
was gonna say the haircut is.
But
Oh,
like
the
it's just like
hair.
it's just like a weird point that goes all the way back to the back. It's fucking
I thought
weird,
it looked
man.
fly.
You would.
You know who
Nah.
really liked it was that fucking waitress at the diner that
She
she
was
was
horned
like,
up.
anything for you, sir?
Damn.
She really wanted that to her 17-year-old.
Whoa.
Yeah. I'm
God
I'm
damn.
gonna say lock his ass up. But,
All right. We got Edward. Is there anybody else?
I think
mean-
James the Tracker is a cooter.
James the Tracker.
James.
He's the one who bites Bella, right?
Yeah, he's wearing a jacket with no shirt underneath.
It's
I
true.
just
He is a cooter, I think. Like, and we can go down the points. The problem is like he's a cooter with like bare minimum of information. He just gives cooter vibes.
They just
I'm not
threw him
sure
out
we
there.
know anything
Yeah.
about him.
Manipulation. He's using. Who
Mhm.
the
did he?
videotape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the videotape and like
Smug
He
arrogance.
seems pretty smug. Yeah.
Yeah.
smug as shit. For
Arrogant
sure.
asshole. Overall looking
looking
attire for
attire
sure.
because of the. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
he
fair.
looks
So
like
we
a
got enough
WWE
points.
reject.
Yeah.
He was actually considered for the role of Emmett too. But he requested to play James because he was like, I want to do this one time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Good
fair.
call.
Want to get my
Get
check
that
and
payday,
get the
baby.
fuck
But where has
outta
he been
here.
since then, huh?
Right. Yeah.
Where are you,
Emmett got that
James?
money.
That's true.
Emmett got that
Uh-huh.
Breaking Dawn money.
Look, he just did
Uh,
the Betsy Palmer thing. Bought himself a car and called it a day.
Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion later, maybe. I'm gonna make a call now that maybe old Jasper might hit up some cooter vibes later. I
Who's
don't know what he's
Jasper?
about. It's
Jasper's the newest one where he looks like
Oh yeah.
he's
okay.
like the
the
brother.
blonde. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, he's the fucking
Jasper
Tim Burton
might have
character.
been in the Confederate Army, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Jesus,
Damn.
like canonically, or are you just spitballing?
No,
here?
canonically he had a rank in the Confederate Army.
Damn.
Stephanie Meyer said we're gonna make him a Confederate, and I was like,
And he
why?
rose again. Well, good for him, I guess.
Damn. Well, damn. Well, I guess I called it right then.
What a wild choice
I know.
to make.
Oh my god. All
We
right.
gotta
Actually went
just
into this
watch
long
the rest
diatribe
of
about
them.
how it wasn't about slaves at all. It was really interesting.
Oh my god.
I don't think so.
Oh god. All right, I think Edward's probably King Cooter here, but we got a few.
We got a few. Yeah.
Yeah, we can
Cool.
lock up.
I think we got time for what we've been watching this week. Let's go ahead and talk about it.
Hey gang, what you been watching?
Caitlin, you been watching anything cool this week?
I watched Species in preparation for our Plug It Up episode, and I watched Invisible Man for my cut above, and been watching a lot of Top Chef to soothe, the
Nice.
woes of everyday life. Oh, and I'm a big fan of the book series Dungeon Crawler Carl, and the new one just came out today. Well, the audiobook version, which we really like, came out today. So we are very stoked for that little bit of media.
Nice. I don't know that one.
Sick. Yeah, I've heard you mention that before, but I've not
It's so
listened to
fun.
it.
The audiobook, I was never an audiobook person, but Jeff Hayes, the guy that narrates it, is so funny. It's a lot of fun.
Nice. It's like a D&D cooking crossover kind of thing, right?
It's D&D vibes, yeah, D&D. D&D meets, I would say, Hunger Games for this one. So
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Cool. Sick. Randeezy, what you been watching?
A few things. Watched the newest episode of Severance, which would be season 2, episode 4, and I gotta say, heavily in contention for best episode of the series rather. It is a pretty fucking good episode. Holy shit. That was great. I won't say more. I watched Lost. I finally finished up the finale of Lost for only the second time in my life, even though I was a massive Lost dork growing up, and I watched it live. And man, like, I think again, like, I feel like I gave it a hard time over the years because of how it ended and all that stuff, and like all these criticisms sort of like metastasized in me. But it's still it really is just a fun show. Like as long as you don't take it too seriously, and you don't expect anything profound, hyper profound, it ultimately ends on kind of like a platitude. And as long as you kind of knowing that going in, it was fun. It's fun to watch through. Um, so I enjoyed that. Been rewatching The Wire. I mentioned that before. I watched a true crime documentary I've been watching. It's not quite done yet. Called Scamanda, about this woman who fakes having cancer and steals the child she babysits for's dad from his wife rather. Like I don't know. She's a terrible person who takes advantage of people. So it's
That's
a good true
crazy. What's
crime
her
documentary.
name?
I got one guess. um, and last but not least, certainly not least, I don't think that I mentioned Pop Culture Jeopardy last week, did I?
Oh, I love Pop Culture Jeopardy.
Maybe.
So a friend of mine has been on Pop Culture Jeopardy and was just on an episode that released last week. We went into a bar and watched it as a big group. He and his teammates. Their team is called the Personality Hires. He's the progenitor of the Nunya bump that I don't have
Nice.
handy right now.
From
And
like
they have now
Jeopardy, right?
from Jeopardy. Yeah, he was on Jeopardy proper, and now he's done doing Pop Culture Jeopardy.
Making the
So
Damn.
rounds.
wishing them a good luck because they're going on to the third round now. So
Hey.
I think there's like 5 rounds total, something like that. They've been hanging out with Colin Jost and getting wins. So congrats to them. Big congrats to Zach and the crew and
Cool.
Emily and so on. Yeah, that's good. That's it for me.
What is none your business? That's awesome.
Yes.
Juice, what you been watching?
I watched a couple things on the plane. I watched Kinds of Kindness because that was recommended. That was that's Yorgos Lanthimos film from last year, and it's kind of got that thing going on that he did in Killing of a Sacred Deer, where everybody talks like really weird. Um, but it's like three different stories actually. It's kind of an anthology, I guess, in that kind of way. But it's all everyone. It's like so all the actors are in the stories, but they're playing completely different characters. So it's got Emma Stone, Team Todd, aka Jesse Plemons, Willem Dafoe is in it. So yeah, it was a weird movie. It was weird. Some interesting story, like concepts though. But yeah, definitely didn't like it as much as Sacred Deer or God, the one from
Poor
2 years
things.
ago.
Poor
Poor
Things.
Things. Yes, thank you.
I don't care
I
for like the monotone approach
it's very
personally.
strange, or it's not even just monotone. It's just like I don't know what's up.
It's like
I
completely matter of fact.
yeah, Killing of a Sacred Deer worked for me because it was that I haven't seen The Lobster yet. Do they do that in The Lobster too?
I haven't seen it.
Okay, anybody seen The Lobster?
I
Okay,
don't remember. It's been years, honestly.
okay. I guess he's got another film coming out this year too.
Cranking them out,
Mhm.
man.
Begonia, science fiction comedy. Anyways. I watched that and oh fuck. It's a remake of the South Korean film Save the Green Planet, which I watched last year, 2 years ago for the first time, which is a very like cult classic Korean film.
Begonia is or
Begonia?
kind of
Yeah, apparently, yeah. It says Begonia is a yeah, it's an English language remake of the 2003 South Korean film Save the Green Planet, which is a wild movie. It's about a guy who he kidnaps a very high ranking politician, I think, or CEO, something like that. Somebody like with power and he thinks he's an alien, so he tortures him to get him to confess that he's an alien.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a really
cool.
dark but like twist. Yeah, it's a weird movie. But good. Oh, so that's cool. Um I watched Little Giants because it was on the plane.
Moranis.
Yeah, old Rick Moranis. That's a charming little movie, and I watched it not too long ago, 3 or 4 years ago again, and that's one I liked a lot when I was a kid. But yeah, it's a charming little movie. Old Rick Moranis, and that's I think that's all I watched on the plane. Bob, what you been watching?
A few things. I went out to the theaters last week to watch Heart Eyes. which is like a new slasher movie, Valentine's Day themed slasher movie. It's very, very much trying to take the two subgenres of a rom-com and a slasher and like mash them together. And it was, I think, in my opinion, anyways, pretty successful when it comes to the slasher aspects of things, but the romantic comedy stuff, um, mostly kind of rang hollow until the very end. I think it did land the plane pretty well, but it mostly rang hollow. And also, anytime the movie's sort of building tension in these like chase sequences, and you're supposed to be afraid for your characters, it just sort of like slams on the brakes, and they have to do this like what felt to me as kind of a forced like romantic scene or like relationship building scene. It just like sucks any sort of tension and pace out of the movie, and you're like, oh, okay. And then it just goes right back to it. It's kind of like a weird tonal whiplash. I know I not everybody has that opinion, but that's kind of how it struck me anyways. The design of the slasher I thought was really rad, and it's got some really good kill scenes. And overall, I had a good time watching it, and I think it's worth checking out. But it was kind of a weird, the blend I don't think totally landed for me. I revisited Late Phases, which is a werewolf movie from 2014. It's got Ethan Embry in it, actually. It's like a smaller role. Um, it's one that I like quite a bit that I don't hear anybody ever like reference for whatever reason, but it's about this dude who is a retired vet, and he's blind, and he is his son, who is played by Ethan Embry, is like dropping him off at this like retirement facility, and he's moving in and sort of meeting the neighbors. And the first night he's there, some big thing, which ends up being a werewolf, it's not hidden in any way, it shows you immediately, breaks into the building next door to him and kills the old lady that's living there. So he's like figuring out what's going on. He has to like protect himself and fight it off. And he's an older blind dude, so he's got certain hurdles that he has to overcome. It's a really solid not vampire, werewolf movie, that is worth checking out if you are into that kind of thing.
If you're nasty.
If
Well,
you are
then,
sick,
guess I'll be
nasty,
watching it later.
you'll love it. If you're full of vampire venom, you got to check out Late Phases.
I don't know. I think it got all sucked out. I'll check and see if there's any left.
Check and see if there's any left in the
Suck it
tank.
and see.
Oh God.
You'll never
boy.
know.
Rewatched Captain America Civil War as well, just kind of for the hell of it. And it was a little worse than I remembered it being, actually. It was kind of a little boring, honestly. Probably end up watching that new one. I don't know.
New
I
one?
don't know. Yeah, the new Captain America movie.
Oh.
It comes out this weekend.
Damn.
I can't remember the name of it. New World?
Brave New World, I think.
Brave New, whatever the fuck. I don't know. There's a Red
World.
Hulk in it, and it looks okay. So that's pretty much it, though. A little bit of The Wire still trucking through The Wire, but that's about it. We do have one voicemail. Let's go ahead and get into our hotline screens.
Hotline screen.
If you guys are listening and would like to call in and leave a voicemail to be featured on next week's show, hit us up at 904-638-3231. We're going to hear from our good friend, the librarian, tonight. Let's hear what she's got to say.
Bob! I was ready to leave a voicemail, but the voicemail message box scared me. Bob, what the fuck? Okay, anyway, I had a joke. Is your refrigerator running? No? Well, then you're just like me. My fridge is broken. Fuck my stupid life. Fuck, that voicemail intro is so fucking funny. Fuck. Yeah, if you guys know any hot repair fridge people in your area, send them my way. Bye!
Boy, do
Oh,
I.
damn. I don't even know what that voicemail message is. Damn.
Ripley
Just
has
gonna-
been through it with the fridge in their apartment.
Damn.
It's been a whole saga.
That is a
sucks.
pain in the ass, yeah.
Ripley, you
what
do
does
know
the
this ain't
voicemail
Angie's
say?
list, right?
You got to call in and find out. 904-638. 3231. Just got a
Damn.
call. Check it out.
Except me,
I don't
I'll do
even
it.
know.
I'm gonna call in and sing like Robert Pattinson.
I noticed
Okay.
nobody called in and sent their kinks.
I know, you scared him
Nobody got
off.
kinks?
I did.
Thanks.
Oh, I meant Justin scared him off. You're fine.
No.
He got real weird with it, and people were like, I don't know about this guy. This is
You don't know
he's
by
trying to get
now.
a sex cult going.
no, just fully embraces it. Yeah, I'm a little fucked up. If you're not okay with it.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a little freak.
Some
I'm a bit of
people
a
have described
freak
me as
nut.
a little bit of a little freak.
I'm a little bit of a venom nut.
I'm all hopped up on that vampire venom. So.
I got a little of that venom nut in me.
God
That's a nice little
damn.
clip right there. That's going in the supercut.
Oh boy.
Oh fuck.
Oh boy.
Randeezy, happy Valentine's Day.
I know.
Woo.
Somebody's got to bring the kinks. We got let down.
I know. We're vanilla stains over here. Randy's bringing the heat.
I
At
know.
least vanilla stains come out quick.
Ugh.
Tight. Call in 904-638-3231 next week. You guys have any prompts you want to throw out for the hotline? Screams?
Good question. What's next week? Signs. Is
Signs.
next week.
Signs,
I
yeah.
feel like
Mm.
gonna be
Call
quite a
in
few
with your
people that like
craziest
me.
conspiracy theories about aliens.
You're about to get so many voice notes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. How many
Some folks have been
species you
waiting
think are
years
out
for this
there
question. And
How do you get their venom?
out of your body? You
Is
suck
it-
it out.
You
put a
probably
thing in a
gotta
thing,
suck
or do
it
you
out,
take a thing
right?
out of a thing? You suck it out of a thing. What do you do?
Would you want to know if aliens really were real? Would you want to know, or do you want to just stay in ignorant bliss?
Didn't we have disclosure like last
Yeah,
year?
I think we know.
No, okay. Well, never mind.
Really made a splash.
So you were like,
He
I'm
left
not
an
plugged in.
impression.
I don't
Well-
fucking care.
I guess everybody
Ignorant
kind of went,
bliss, you
wow.
He
This
said, call me
impacts
when
us
there's
in no way.
vampires.
Yeah, when they disclose the vampires, give me a call.
Yeah, we'll be ready for that venom.
The
Well.
space vampires. Now we're talking.
Mm,
I
Oh,
know
yeah.
those
somebody
the
who
kind.
could really use a space vampire.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, call in with your alien stories. You ever see anything? You got any crazy conspiracy theories? Anything alien related? Aliens ever put stuff in your butt? Call in, let us know.
Let us know.
904
Tell us about the
638
stuff in your butt.
3231. The butt stories.
Want all the dirty
Oh,
deeds?
That's the prompt. Distill it all the way down to that. Tell us about the stuff in your butt.
What's in there? We know there's something
What's
in
the
there.
craziest
Tell
thing you
me
ever got
what
stuck
is
in your butt?
there.
This is different
What's
than
the
Hotline King.
Top 10 things stuck in my butt right now.
Didn't we
It's a
get...
different prompt.
I think we did get a voicemail once of someone who was a nurse talking about like pulling stuff out of
I think
butts.
so.
we
yeah.
definitely
No doubt.
did.
Yeah,
Good
what's the
shit.
craziest thing you ever pulled out of somebody's butt?
Yeah, if you're a nurse, yeah, what are you pulling out? If you're
Oh,
not a
or
nurse,
even
what are you,
just not
what are
a
you
nurse.
sticking in there?
I'll limit this to the professionals. I want to hear about these amateur
I want to
butt
hear
plugs.
the
Yeah.
amateurs. Yeah.
I got a guy on my street. He's the butt doctor. He can remove anything. He's great.
He's not accredited, buddy. He takes his time.
Not licensed, not
He's
insured,
an
but
MD
he'll get
per
it out for
se.
you.
24/7. Call him anytime. He's very reliable.
He's about
I
to be
gotta
so busy
Works
with
under the
Valentine's Day
table,
coming
you
up.
know.
have a line out the door. Oh boy. Yeah, we're talking about Signs next week from 2002. M. Night Shyamalan. Check it out. Get ready for next
Whoa,
week's show.
Shyamalan.
Golden era
Shyamalan.
Shyamalan.
Yeah, the only era that matters.
He's about to come out with something with Nicholas Sparks. You guys see that?
Oh god.
Yeah,
Saw
it
that.
sounds
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
That's
Sure
like if
does.
like Thomas Kincaid teamed up with a butt and just
It's-
decided to make art.
Nicholas Sparks is writing a book about some characters, and then Shyamalan's writing a screenplay about the same characters and the same story, but they're writing them independently, and they're going to release them, I guess,
Oh,
at the same
God.
time. It
What?
sounds horrible.
I didn't know that.
And it's like
Kind
a,
of a thing.
it's a
Mm.
sci-fi romance or something like that.
Oh
It's-
my god.
It sounds rough.
Dude, what
I
is
do
the
not
last good
trust-
movie that he made, honestly? Like
The Visit, I think.
The Visit, probably.
when
I
what
kind of liked
year was
old.
that? What?
Oh no, he did Split after The Visit. Actually,
Split.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
So
Split
2016.
rules.
So almost 10 years.
Yeah.
It's been almost 10 years.
That just
Maybe
makes me
this
feel
will
old for
be.
sure.
I don't know.
I
It's
don't
not gonna be
think
good.
so.
No,
I
it's
think
not
we
gonna
should
be
keep giving him infinite shots and succeeding
Maybe he'll
at pulling
get
his
good
name out of
again.
the trash.
good.
Yeah, this
I
is
feel
the
like
one.
he already did
I
get
feel
good
it.
again and then got bad again.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's had more than one
Yeah, he takes like these
reemergence at this
10-year
point.
gaps of
Yeah,
just
he's
releasing
like an
horrible
eclipse.
shit. Every 10
Like
years.
every few years, he puts out
Yeah.
something decent.
10.
It's just like, oh
It's
my
literally
God, Shyamalan
10.
didn't let me down.
It's 10. If you go back, Split was 2016 and Visit was 2015. And before that, After Earth, Last Airbender, The Happening, Lady in the Water, The Village, Signs was 2002. Every 10 years, he's got.
The Village, but
All I'm
Village
taking
is
away from
Village.
that is
Still,
I need to
it
go
would still
casket
be 10
shopping
years.
because Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah.
So next year is the year of the Shyamalan coming
I
back for the
guess.
second time.
Yeah.
Third wave Shyamalan.
Third
Next
wave.
Jesus.
Are you ready for the third wave?
I'm not
Hell
ready.
yeah. Check out Signs. Get ready for next week's show. Caitlin, it's always a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for dealing with our nonsense yet again.
thank you for having me. It was a blast.
Yeah, hell yeah. Be sure to check out Plug It Up everywhere you get your podcasts, as well as Skin of a Killer everywhere you get your podcasts. If you want some more Twilight goodness. We'll be back next week as always. And until then, hope you have a lovely Valentine's Day. Put stuff in butts, get stuff taken out of your butts, whatever you do, make it butt oriented, and keep chilling.